So part of the reason I'm doing all these videos is I have to put some sort of presence online to even gain any amount of traction, and I figure, controversially ranting about the publishing industry might get me more views. Maybe I'll rip apart book talk too, but that's like down the line. Yeah, I'm not putting that hashtag on this video, by the way. I absolutely hate book talk, think it's the scum of the earth and should be, nuked from orbit. It is probably adding to a lot of the problems of the industry, to be honest. Because, believe you me, the publishers watch that crap. And they really do think that's what everybody wants. So why am I self-publishing? So I never really, finished the whole arc of, how did we get from Twilight to Romantasy, essentially. And I'll be a little bit brief about this because it's actually something this is what started me on my whole journey to realize I needed to self-publish. I was reading a thread. A publisher was ranting and raving about a well-known YouTuber with like 1 million subscribers who got a book deal and got put on the New York Times bestseller list, despite barely selling any copies. This is where they fudge the numbers a lot, obviously, and it's embarrassing. And he was ranting and raving because he had read the book, said it was crap, and he was complaining about how he's read people's books that he can't even, suggest to his editor because they don't care. The publishing industry at this point, because of the success of Twilight and then the subsequent success of 50 Shades of Grey, which was a fan fiction based off of Twilight, literally only go to the internet for their authors. So they'll look for Wattpad writers who have a huge following. They'll look for YouTubers who have a huge following, especially ones who book talk. If you're going to complain about books, we'll give you a book deal. Why do I hate book talk? And the thing that people fail to realize is just because you're really good at criticizing things doesn't mean you're good at writing or creating or anything. Creation is its own thing. And I'm going to argue, I don't even know if these people are even good at criticism because a lot of, legit criticism goes out the window. This is, my main rant about The Color Purple. I think people are kind of afraid to criticize that book for obvious reasons, and sometimes we need to criticize and we need to have a discussion and we need to say, is this really all that good? So the publishing industry, reading this thread, you realize that they look for people with followings, and then what they do is they'll give you a book deal, and they'll give you a fairly lucrative one. They might pay you $50,000 or something, which is not chump change, not chump change, and then they'll obviously publish your book. But a lot of the time they do not do marketing for you. You have to do your own marketing because they're relying on the fact that you have a following to sell this book. And the problem is if you have 1 million followers, they're expecting at least 10% to read your book. They're lucky if they get 1. Because most people are not actually here to read your book. Most people do not care. And so over the years they've seen diminishing returns because they keep chasing clout on the internet, not realizing that while some of us will read it for free on fanfiction.net, most of us will not buy a physical copy of this book. And as for the YouTubers, again, just because they can criticize books doesn't mean they can write them. It's a little embarrassing. But yeah, they kind of expect you to do your own marketing. They expect you to do a lot of the legwork. A lot of the value of a publishing deal is supposed to be that they can sell your book. So here's the thing, I'm a writer. I'm not good at selling myself. I am good at writing stories, and that's it. That's my skill. If I was good at selling myself, I wouldn't be good at writing stories. Like, the best writers are the ones who are, like, hidden deep in the mountains by themselves, just letting their ideas flow. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I don't want to engage with people. I just want to engage in my worlds. My characters, they're my friends. No. So more and more they're just targeting people who may or may not be good at selling themselves, may or may not have a following, but expecting them to do a lot of the legwork. So it's almost impossible to get a book deal without some sort of following. And then there's also like the Kickstarter effect, where like if you go for a Kickstarter and it's successful, like you sell 1,000 copies, you might get a publisher to pick you up. And then it's the same thing. It's like the only people who want to read this book are the people who supported it on Kickstarter. This isn't going to go anywhere. And so this is a fallacy that keeps coming up again and again and again, and everyone is suffering for it. Bookstores are suffering, publishers are suffering, the authors are suffering, because like these books are not selling. Even high-profile books are not selling. The only things that are really selling are like cookbooks and self-help books, which are a dime a dozen and not all that interesting. It's really, really hard to break into the fiction world. And then on top of that, there's this huge emphasis on romantasy. It's a huge emphasis on porn. It's like porn sells, so let's do tons and tons of monster porn. And it's not okay. But that's what they learned. They learned from Harry Potter and Twilight that what do women want, and women were overwhelmingly the biggest customer they had at the time. They want fantasy and they want porn, and ideally they want monster dick. And so that's what they write. And I think the worst part about it is like, there used to be the romance genre. You know, we had Fabio on the cover clutching at a half-naked woman, and we all knew what that was, and we all knew what that was about, and it was something you hid, and you didn't show people you were reading. And no one would ever say they were a reader if that's all they read. But suddenly you make it monster porn, and it's suddenly literary? I mean, that's why I hate book talk, because I hate the whole, like, I freaking hate I'm a reader. Have you ever read anything but A Court of Thorns and Roses? It's not literature, people, okay? Sorry. I'm getting off base. I know I'm getting off base. It just makes me so angry, because part of it is when I was growing up, I wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to be a writer. And I am. I don't need to be published to be a writer. That's silly. But I always dreamed of, like, you know, okay, I'll sell my book to a publisher and I'll get a book deal and it'll be great, right? And as I got older and I started researching and started looking into it and went, oh, maybe it's not so great. And then you find things like your publisher can drop you, and then if they drop you, it's really hard to get another book deal. You find out, like, your rights and royalties, that's hard to navigate sometimes. Like, they can, like, don't publish through Amazon. You might be running into issues there that you don't realize. That's just my word of advice. I'm not gonna say for sure, but I find their publishing a little questionable. And yeah, like the idea that I could write something and a publisher could take it, and then if it doesn't sell well, tell me I can't write any more sequels to this book. This is my work. This is my story, and I would have to like change everything. And that doesn't sit well with me. So when I learned that, like, that's just generic publishing. And then we have all this other stuff of like, you need to have a following online, and you need to like make it sexy. And you start to go, oh, why would I ever bother? And the absolute worst part is if I were to blow up, if my books were suddenly to sell tons and tons of copies and someone were to approach me, I'd be like, what the hell would you offer me that I would ever take this? Like, legitimacy? Fuck off. And I think that's what's so disappointing about it is like, I would love more gatekeeping in the publishing world, to be honest. I want publishers to exist to say, you cannot just put anything out there and call it writing. Because that's what Amazon is right now. It's the cesspool full of people, like, for all the really, like, the one good indie author on there, there's millions and more people who are just writing generic fan fiction that they just change the names of and are trying to publish. And so I would love, even if it would be even harder for me to get a book deal, I would love there to be some oversight. And that's what publishers should be offering, is oversight. And they don't, because now they are just courting the people who should not be in the industry at all. And it's a shame, because I know my writing is good enough. And I know it's going to take a freaking miracle for it to gain any traction. Because I'm not going through Amazon. I'm not even doing TikTok. I'm not doing anything you're supposed to be doing. I am trying really hard to write good books, edit them properly, put them out there properly, retain my rights as an author. And I guess the only thing I can tell myself is, you know, if one person reads it and loves it, that isn't my family member. Actually, I don't know. My family members don't even read it sometimes. This video is going off the rails. I guess this is I feel sad sometimes being an author in the 21st century. It's hard, it's painful, and it's kind of sad. And like, part of what is sad about it is that no one is catering to anyone but wine moms. Like, men are totally overlooked when it comes to publishing. I mean, overlooked entirely. There's almost nothing published today. Even the self-help books are not published with men in mind. That's kind of why Jordan Peterson blew up, okay? Like, why his book sold, if you want to know, it's because it's one of the only books targeted to men, even in that genre. If you I've read a lot of like self-help or history books, and they're targeted at women. It's pathetic. Yeah, if I went through publishing houses, I A, would lose my rights, but B, I'm sure they would want me to change it to be more in line with the audience they think they should be courting, and not the audience I want to see, because like, I just want to see readers read my books and love my books. And yeah, it's also why I started this channel, to, I don't know, maybe gain some controversy and gain some views, and if nothing else, gain some readers.